Hey, Peter.
Hey.
If you were to pick one song for me
Yes.
that is like one of my favorite tunes ever, what would it be? It's a good guess. Strong choice. What about a tune that you think I would think was just kind of mid? Ooh, you'd be incorrect. I love that tune.
Okay.
What about a tune that I've heard so many times at jam sessions that I'm a little bit over it, but it's still a classic? Close. From the 70s.
Oh.
Ding dong. I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Jazz advice coming at you.
Jazz advice coming at you, brought to you by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com to start your free trial and check out all of our online courses. I wanted to get an all in.
That's a lot coming at me.
Buddy, we were just in New York with a bunch of You'll Hear Iters at our You'll Hear It live event, and I got a couple of comments about people missed the
You didn't do it? I thought you did it.
I didn't do it on the show.
You were trying to be classy. You were like in New York City. You had your special bespoke clothes on.
My best loafers on. No, it's true. It was a blast, man. We had a great time. Thanks everybody for coming out to the Sheen Center and hanging with us.
Thank you guys so much, and thanks for sticking around and saying hello. I think we talked to almost half of the audience, if not more. We talked to a lot of folks.
It was so cool. People were all the way from Paris, France.
That was crazy. Yeah, we were asking like where folks were from. When we got to see how far they were from, somebody said Maryland. I was like, wow. That was good. Michigan. And then a gentleman, a bespoke gentleman with the attire of a Frenchman. There you go.
That's the bespoke bell, by the way.
Said Paris, France. Paris, France. I was so amazed by that. So that was super cool. And let's do it again.
Yeah. Shout out to our whole team for putting that on. And
let us know in the YouTube comments where you want us to come to next.
We'll come to your town.
We can't promise that.
We can't promise, but we want to.
We're going to go somewhere.
Yeah,
we're going to go somewhere. And that was awesome. What are we talking about today? Is this part of our series?
This is part of our
What makes this album great?
WMTAG.
You know when I know it might be is when producer Caleb sets these in front of our workstations here. We know that is that time of day of the week.
We're going to be listening to music and
what
we're going to be
makes this album great?
Scoring Chick Corea's Light as a Feather. This is by Chick Corea and Return to Forever, which is his second album under that name or with that lineup, the original lineup of Return to Forever. It's Airto on drums and percussion. It's Joe Farrell.
This was their first record.
No, this is their second. The first was Return to Forever.
Okay, that's right.
And this is Chick Corea and Return to Forever, Light as a Feather.
Right.
So Airto, Joe Farrell, Flora Purim, Stanley Clark on the bass, and of course the great Chick Corea on all things keyboards. Peter, this is one of my favorites. This might be the best Rhodes record ever recorded. I don't think anybody could argue with that.
I think it's certainly the most iconic, sort of Rhodes sound and connected with the tunes with, of course, Chick Corea's playing.
Absolutely.
Just iconic from that period and from that instrument. So I love Chick Corea, by the way. Can we put that out there?
Chick's the greatest, man.
Chick was just an incredible human, obviously an incredible pianist, Fender Rhodes musician, composer, and those, which was quite a few. Like he was very influential, like always, would go into, he had these iconic bands of which, doesn't get any more so than Return to Forever, but many bands all the way until the end of his life, just cool groupings of great musicians, young, old, different generations, different styles and everything. And he touched, I think, more people personally and through his music in a very personalized way than perhaps anybody else, or at least as much as I would say anybody else in this sort of jazz world. So
totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. So here's our criteria. We've got 10 criteria. Playing.
Don't cry at our criteria.
Oh boy. Vibe, compositions, sound, cover art, title, lore, Stylo Meter.
Which has gotten an adjustment. We'll talk about that.
Okay. And is it better than KOB?
Which has also gotten an
adjusted from last week. So let's start with playing, Peter. I've got something queued up here. So we alluded to Spain. Famously around here at Open Studio, I'm not a fan of Spain, but not because of this version. I actually love this original version. I just think I've been burned too many times at jam sessions by people who kind of know it and kind of ruined it for me.
Right.
So,
but we're going by the OG original here. So
this is such a beautiful song, and this is such a beautiful tune. I just want to skip ahead a little bit. We all know Spain, yeah? We can go back to it for sure. We're about 5 minutes in now.
Joe Farrell, shout out.
Possibly one of the greatest road solos ever.
It's got that overdrive sound on it, right?
Well, he has dipped the times so that they're overtone heavy.
Okay.
Those little punty left hand voicing. We're just gonna be grunting our way through this.
Yeah.
It's like so beautiful.
The
lick.
Is it early? No, it's not the earliest.
Diminished pattern.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Too good. All right, so that's Chick solo.
Man, it's such an epic tune. You know what I mean? It's got an epic flow to it.
Epic tune, yeah.
And the way he crafts that solo is
that. Well, we can maybe talk about the sound of the Rhodes a little bit, but you'd mentioned like the overdrive on it. There's a little bit of that 70s tape overdrive. I don't know if it's from the tape, but maybe from the Rhodes itself. But there's also, on a Rhodes, you can position. So the Rhodes is basically like each tine is like a tuning fork. Like there's a resonator, and then there's the tine itself.
Yep.
And then each one of those has a pickup similar to like a guitar pickup.
Right. Which is a microphone.
A single coil. Yeah, microphone essentially, but it's a pickup. And you can position the tine up or down or exactly even with the pickup. And if the tine itself is directly even with the pickup, it gets a very warm whole tone. And a lot of Rhodes are not set up like that. They're set up so that you adjust them so that you get if it's away from the pickup, you get more overtone, or like an octave above. It's thinner and it provides more bite. And so Chick, I believe, has this one set up so that it's very much skewed towards the overtone. Mm-hmm. So it has this sort of like round bubble thing that happens when you do that. And now it's so funny because like when you get on a Nord or whatever, there will be a Chick setting EP that has where it's like they've adjusted it so it sounds like the overtone is like you've adjusted the tines so that they're up. So most Rhodes are more tone based with a little bit of overtone. This has more overtone than your average.
So it's the up and down with that Phillips screwdriver.
Yeah. So at the back end of every tine, there's two screws and they're on springs and a grommet. 2 grommets and 2 springs on 2 screws.
We call that Wallace in grommet.
Right. So, and there are some great tutorials on YouTube where you can adjust your Rhodes. By the way, if you have an old Rhodes that sounds jankety,
get rid of it. Send it to us.
Go on YouTube and check out some regulation tutorials.
Yes.
It's so easy to do, and you can really customize your sound with it.
Right.
It's been a game changer for every Rhodes I've had to be able to do that.
But then there's the horizontal distance to the pickup and the tine too.
And that's more about just volume.
Right.
Yeah. And so this is more the up and down is more about the tone.
Oh, so cool.
And so this is such an amazing specific tone. I love it because it bites and you can hear the attack so clearly. And it's a beautiful sounding Rhodes.
Well, and during this time, and actually, right around this time or a little bit later, I remember Diane Reeves telling me some stories about going to LA, and she kind of went in these same circles, musicians, her early career.
Yeah.
And she would talk about like George Duke, who's their cousin, and kind of took her among a number of other great musicians that came out to LA under his wing. But she talked about how like George Duke would have his Rhodes setup sound. You know what I mean? Like the way that he would have it regularly. Then Chick Corea would have his, Herbie had his, and like a lot of other keyboardists and stuff, like they looked at that as like their sound, you know, how it was set up in there. Yeah. And that George Duke had I think he even had one, or maybe Chick brought it over at his studio there with his sort of sound. And it was a very exciting time for that kind of personalized keyboard. Stevie Wonder too. Yeah. Stevie Wonder played around with that stuff.
All right. Our first rating here is for playing.
Yes.
I'm going 10 because Chick sounds so good.
Do you love Chick Corea? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I love Chick too. I'm going 9. Wait, but this is for the whole album. Everybody's playing, right?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean, 9
for the whole album.
No, I would do 10.
I'm going to go 9 too. Actually,
no. I don't want to
totally right.
This is my thing. I can't tell you any faults in anything that anybody's playing on here.
I can.
Oh, you can.
There's
in the playing.
Not faults, but it's like some of the flute solos are not my favorites.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So exactly. So not favorites based, as opposed to
I think they're great.
There's
they're
poor
not
playing or something like that.
No, there's poor playing at all. No, everybody's amazing.
Or 3,
but it's not 10. It's not a 10.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 2, Vibe. What do you got there?
Vibe.
Is that good enough for you?
Vibe, I do have a 10, and I just want to play a little bit of the opening track, Your Everything, because I think this is. So I've only had this album when I was a kid. I had it on when I was a teenager. I had it on vinyl, and so this Rhodes sound on a vinyl record is so vibey
with a little bit of
dude. It just it's amazing. It's amazing.
Chick was a master. Oh,
and that's all. That's ridiculous. So that's not the vibrato on the Rhodes. That's him messing with the volume.
Right.
You can hear the inconsistencies. So he's like hitting a chord and going like that.
And listen to the way he's playing his left hand. Well, like back when he was going up high with the right.
My life, nothing seems so right as to be with you, and when I'm with you,
so good.
I always sing. You're everything.
How great is that?
Man, his storytelling right here.
Laura Parim too.
Yeah.
Like a bird in my even songbirds seem to sing. You're everything.
Now listen to Chick's time. His sense of groove on this. He's pushing almost.
Yeah.
In my life, nothing seems so right.
He's right on it, but it's.
I'm just remembering how influential the way they play with vocals. This was on a whole generation. This record's super influential.
Come on.
Floating like a bird in mine. Even songbirds seem all to sing. You're everything.
Counter melody.
Have you ever tried to play this tune?
No.
I've played it a couple times. It is hard AF.
This is not a jam session tune. You're everything. 1, 2.
No, the drummer, Steve Davis, who lives down the street here, calls this tune all the time, or brings the chart on it too, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, it's tough. I love about this song too, this is the solo. It's just the melody.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a soli, right? Soli. What a vibe.
So, for me, this is all about the vibe of the record. This sets up the record so beautifully. I'm going vibe 10. I'm going vibe 10 on this because the vibe is a 10.
Yeah, I'm going 9, but I couldn't tell you why it's not a 10. I couldn't argue with
No,
10.
it could be a feeling. That's all good, man.
Yeah, this is such a vibe. I think for me, like, had I gotten this record on vinyl, like you say, like maybe that's part of the lore. We'll see. I mean, there's certain records that, like, I connected with this record later, first on CD actually, and I have the feeling like if my interaction had been at this time, or like really early on, I kind of came to this later in terms of Chick Corea. And actually, you know, the whole vibe of this record, I kind of came to in a funny place because my high school jazz band, when I was in middle school, the high school jazz band, which was kind of legendary, U City High School, big shout out to the Lions, formerly the Indians.
Hey.
We corrected that problem. But they played Spain.
Yeah.
And I remember
That's what I'm
hearing
saying,
them,
man. That's how
John
Spain gets
Casimir
ruined.
on drum. No, but they were killing it.
They were killing it.
And that
Okay.
got me to go back and to go to hear this record. And like that actually kind of introduced me in a great way that high school band repertoire can do that for you, you know, kind of went down that rabbit hole. But
Next up is, so I did 10, you did 9 for vibe. Compositions. And I just want to play a little bit of children's song.
yeah,
We've already heard,
you're going to the top of
we've already heard Spain.
yeah.
Legendary composition. You Are Everything. Amazing composition.
I think this might be the strongest composition in a way, but
So it's good orchestration.
is this a little bit serial-esque in terms of a composition?
It's got a couple of out things. I don't know if we would call it serial per se.
I meant serial like the breakfast.
Breakfast cereal? It is the children's song.
Captain Crunch.
And you know, it's hard to listen to this now in the context of its time, but this was 1972.
Yeah.
Still early in the 70s,
Yeah.
you know, and this is,
I remember 72. You, sir, do
I
not.
do not, I was not here yet.
I was 2.
But, I mean, if you think about what was happening 5 years before this, you know, this is pretty, even
Yeah.
with Chick, a couple years before this,
Right.
you know?
Exactly. 69.
So beautiful. Children's song. And then, of course, there's 500 Miles High, Captain Marvel, the title track from Stanley Clarke, Light as a Feather, Spain.
And children's song, I think, is the most unique and like just compositionally, I can't say interesting because I mean, to me, Spain's
interesting. They're all very interesting, but
you know,
there's something about the compositions. I'm going 9 for compositions.
I'm going 9. That's what I have. 9. Cool. Yep.
The sound of the record. So we've heard a bunch of the sound.
This is tough.
The Rhodes sound's an 11,
I know. Yeah, that's why this one's tough for me.
but the bass sound's a 6. at best.
Well, I would say, yeah, I was gonna say 5, but on children's song, I forgot, like the bass sound is killing on that.
I know.
I don't know why it's so different.
It's got the classic 70s sort of pickup.
I mean, in a way, it's a 10 for that.
It is. It's a good
It's just
sounding
that's
one
not,
of that.
you know, it's
Stylistically, it's a little,
but it's a little bit like,
dated.
do we look back at bell bottoms and be like, ugh? But now they look back at bell bottoms and depending on what's in style,
Yeah.
it was a vibe.
I've grown,
that
yeah,
sound.
I've grown more accustomed to it, and I like it more now than
I couldn't
used
imagine
to.
this record without it.
Yeah, it's
So that's
true.
weird.
So that's why, like, I think 5 years ago, I probably would have given the whole sound of this way less than a 9. But now that I'm kind of more in tuned with the pickup bass sound, I'll give it a 9.
I've got it as a 7 because I'm just not like there's enough.
Not a fan.
Well, and some of the drum sound, I'm not. It's not bad, but I'm like the bass sound on a lot of it. I'm not a fan of the Rhodes, as you say. That's a 10 for sure. So I don't know. 7 feels like kind of the right place.
Track sequence, we've got You're Everything, Light as a Feather, Captain Marvel, 500 Miles High, Children's Song in Spain. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8 on that.
Okay.
I think it's good, but not great.
I got it as a 9. I don't find no fault with it. I love the way it starts.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a gutsy thing.
I
I
agree
love
with
like
that.
Spain. Like Spain would be kind of, or Captain Marvel would be kind of an obvious starting out. You
I
know,
would've
putting
put
Spain
Spain-
at the end.
I wouldn't have put Spain at the end. I would have started the second side with it.
But does
that's
that take away points for you or add?
that
by
it's at the
saying-
end?
Yeah.
It takes away.
See, that kind of adds to me because it's like it's interesting.
It is actually, this is kind of built like a live set. So that's,
Yeah.
I can see that. But I'm still going 8.
Okay.
Cover art, can we put that up on for the YouTube folks? The
Oof.
cover art here. Peter doesn't like it.
Well, I'm going 6. Does that mean I don't like it? I'm still getting acclimated.
I'm
and
going
calibrated.
10, buddy. This is,
Are you serious?
I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Producer Caleb says 10.
I mean, for its era, the fonts, the beautiful colors. It's just a feather floating in space with like some.
I would
colors.
give the Chick Corea, what's the Chick Corea album with the Smurf on the front of it?
You like that one?
I'd give that one a higher one.
Friends.
Friends.
Oh boy, that's not bad actually. This Friends cover, but this is so
It's
again.
not great.
I used to hold
Polydor? I don't know.
the vinyl of this,
Yeah.
and it just is such a vibe. It looks like how it sounds, which I
I
think
don't like
is
the color palette.
I-
I know, because that's what's in again now.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it doesn't hold in the way. I mean, it's definitely emblematic of that period. The gradation is
you don't have to like
interesting.
everything. It's okay.
Yeah. No, but sorry, can I explain why I
Yeah,
don't?
go ahead, go ahead.
Can I justify? Can I just explain it a little
You
bit?
can just play.
But wait, what did you have?
10.
Oh my god,
This is
I'm surprised.
This
at.
is a near perfect
That
cover
is
for this
not-
album.
Okay, near perfect would be 9, my friend. You just said it. You said this is a 10 and it's near perfect. Which is it?
This is a 10.
Which
It's
is
a 10
it?
for, it's a
So
perfect
it's a
cover.
perfect.
It's a
This is the
perfect cover.
greatest album. There's never been a better album cover.
No,
there's
not-
been only equal.
There can
to
be
that.
multiple 10s. There doesn't have to be one 10
But
album
then you're
cover.
saying they have to all be equal. But you're saying the quality wise, they're equal to this.
I can't think of a better cover for this album than this cover.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll fax you over about 100, sir.
You're giving it a 6. You obviously are not a huge fan of it.
It's all good.
So, but I love it. Title, I also gave it a 10. I think Light as a Feather is a great name for an album, especially Chick Corea and Return to Forever. Light as a Feather. There's a little rhyme in there.
Yeah.
You know,
I give it an 8. I mean, I think it's very good, but it's not the greatest title ever, but it's solid.
again, with just those stabs of the roads on Your Everything are Light as a Feather. He's like,
Yeah.
and that like you feel like you're floating, like you're lifting off
Yeah.
like a feather. So I appreciate that. Lore, I'm giving an 8. And the lore is really just because of how impactful things like Spain, 500 Miles High is in the real book. My own personal lore, my history with performing Your Everything and flailing.
Yeah.
I'm giving it an 8.
Okay, I'm going 9. I had 10. I just went down to, because I feel like I'm being too flippant with my 10s. The lore, I think because of the, like as you mentioned, the influence, like this record was so influential in ways I'm sure that I don't even realize, but even the ways that I've heard, from people that not only as you said, like had the album. Just think about it at that time when this came out. This was kind of like, think about the records that this influenced.
No, I mean,
that just the ways of playing. And like, I think that a lot of people think about this as a classic or the classic fusion record.
Well, the only thing holding
Which
me
I don't
back
think it is,
I think Return to Forever maybe holds a higher lore than this. It came out earlier in the same year,
Right.
pretty much the same band. It was like an introduction to this kind of.
But this one won Playboy Jazz Album of the Year.
That's
when
good
Playboy
lore.
was
it's
rocking.
Good. It's good. It's
Yeah.
8. Now the Stylo Meter. Peter, do you have a change to the Stylo Meter?
I need you to re-explain it, not for me, but for our dear listeners.
Okay, for our dear listener, we've been doing the Stylo Meter. Is this an album that jazz snobs would love?
So that's
And it's 1 to 10. They wouldn't love it as a 1. They would love it. Jazz snobs would.
I'm
love it
going to
as a
say
10.
4.
You don't think jazz snobs like this album? Spain.
Aunt Linda or Jan's, but
We're taking Aunt Linda out of the
dang, I love
character.
that. That was so much more. I could understand it so much better when she was the reference point.
But if Aunt,
So give me an example. I need to personify the jazz.
so the last time
snob.
I said
who would be the jazz snob? Name names.
Eric Dolphy Out to Lunch would be a 10 on the jazz snobometer, right?
Yeah,
And like Dave Brubeck Timeout would be like a 1.
I think this is closer to the Brubeck. I think this is for a jazz snob. But I'm saying, tell me this jazz snob. Give me a name.
There's some
Nate Chinen.
no
Shinen?
no
He's not?
he's not really a snob. No, he's just a
So-
writer.
Okay. But what would be the highest level? You or I?
Marty Morrison.
Who's that?
Drummer Marty
Oh, Marty
Morrison, friend of
Morrison.
ours.
Oh,
Marty
yeah, he's
Morrison.
a snob.
He just loves Wayne Shorter.
No, but
like,
he just loves great music, though.
that's what I'm saying though. But he's not putting up with anything that's not really, really
So
great.
I'm going to say 5 on this.
Okay. All right. I think Marty would like this though.
I think he would, But I think there's some jazz snobs at that level that would not. They wouldn't even consider this a jazz
Shout
record.
out to Marty Morrison, by the way.
Yeah, shout
Great
out to
drummer.
Marty.
7. I'm going 7 on the Stylo
Okay.
Meter. Because I
So I
agree.
wasn't that far
I
off.
agree. It's not like the
This is
snobbiest.
this is probably the toughest one. That's why I'm splitting the difference.
Yeah. And then is it better than KOB? So we're qualifying KOB, Kind of Blue, is a 9. Solid right on the 9.
Yeah.
So is it better than KOB on a scale of 1 to 10? KOB is a 9. I have 8. It's almost as good.
Okay, I have 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's add up our scores.
Oh, my favorite part of this.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, let's add them up. Peter, you go first. What is your score and what's your favorite track?
Total score?
Yeah.
78.
Woo!
I don't know.
This is one of your lower.
The Snobometer messed me
But you
up.
know, that's
not on me.
This isn't one of your albums. What's your favorite track?
Spain.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
My total score is 88, and my favorite track is Your Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Chick Corea.
Yeah.
For the great
Shout
music.
out Chick
By the way,
Corea.
the insane
legend.
thing is we would all be lucky to make one album this good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Come on, man.
Like even close to this. Chick made dozens of albums this good or better.
Would you say this is his best record?
No.
But it's up there. I mean, it's a great record.
That's the thing is his batting average is so high.
Right.
At like banger after banger.
And that kind of almost works against you in this kind of ridiculous scoring that we're doing.
He maybe has 10 better records than this. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Peter.
Cool. You'll hear it.
That's good.